Hello, my friends. So, CBN News has an ex-New Ager on to talk about the dangers of tarot cards, the horrors of crystals, and the detriment of psychic readings. Were any of these claims vetted by the CBN News journalists? Of course not. Will CBN News do any fact-checking? What do you think? They will give this crazy lady a platform and do absolutely no investigating whatsoever. Her verification is a bleep and Jeebus, and that's all the evidence they need. So, get your tinfoil hat ready as we take another dive into the creative imagination of an ex-New Ager and learn the dangers of non-biblical divination. A special shout out to my patrons who make these videos possible. Thank you. And now, on with the nonsense. I hope you enjoy.
Coming up on tonight's Faith versus Culture, one psychic's escape from the occult. Coming right up.
As we will soon hear, it wasn't the occult, it was New Age spirituality. And she didn't escape it. She just left it and became a Christian. Escape makes it sound as if she had to break out of some Scientology prison cell. The language some of these fundies use is so hyperbolic.
Welcome to Faith versus Culture.
Faith versus culture? So either one or the other? No compromise, huh? Okay.
Today we have a really interesting conversation. We are welcoming a friend of mine, Jen Niza, to the show. She is a former psychic who escaped the occult, became a Christian, and is now speaking out about the dangers of the life she once lived.
Oh, good. Finally, we are going to hear about the actual dangers of the occult. So far, I've been disappointed by others who make this claim, but I've yet to hear of any actual dangers. By the way, I tried to do some investigation into her past, and she seems to have always been an ex-psychic. No information about her being a so-called famous psychic or medium. So let's take her claims with a grain of salt.
In my house, it was perfectly acceptable to talk about the paranormal. My great aunt was a psychic, and my mom enjoyed that type of conversation, and she had a tarot card reader come into our house.
Oh my God, she let her into her home willingly?
At age 13, and of course, and I always say this, quick disclaimer, not throwing mom under the bus. She was deceived, but we would see the activity going on in the house. We didn't know they were demons, of course. We would call them ghosts.
Ah, so imagined events, creaking floorboards, light bulbs going out. The usual, unusual stuff which happens in most homes. Got it. Is this part of the dangers, or are you just slowly leading up to the actual dangers?
Playing with the lights and things that I think a lot of people have seen in their own homes, that type of demonic oppression. By
demonic oppression, do you mean weird things happening? Did you investigate or explore any other options? Or did you just immediately jump to the faulty conclusion that demons were running around causing mischief?
And when I had that tarot card reading, that was when I believe I personally gave legal permission to demons. I walked through that demonic door because I signed up for it after that. I was so intrigued by this tarot card reading. Like, how did cards know about me? How did this woman who I never met before, how did she know things about me?
Well, I'm glad you prefaced this by saying you believe, because that is exactly what it is. Your belief. And your belief does not make it true or real. And I am of the school of thought that divination tools, such as tarot cards, runes, scrying mirrors, and other such things, allow us to open up to our subconscious mind. And that divination comes from within us, not from outside entities.
And I went down that rabbit hole really quickly. I started getting more readings. It's very addictive.
Oh no, she's hooked on tarot. And as we all know, tarot is a gateway drug to Satan worship.
Who could it be? Who could it be? I just can't imagine who. Could it be Satan?
And I got my own tarot cards. My sister did too, and we started doing readings daily. We were doing daily readings.
Daily. So this was very much.
Oh my, daily. Please tell me you weren't in back alleys doing unsavory things just to get another tarot deck. Have you no self-respect?
Ingrained in your life, right? You had that family history, you have that reading, you have the tarot cards, then you start doing it yourself daily?
Daily.
Wow, they are really driving home this daily thing. Are there supposed to be dangers to having daily tarot readings that I'm unaware of? Excuse me for 1 minute, but I have to make this slight change. Let me just find the right font, make a blue box, center it, center the text, move it down and to the right, and there, that should be about right. That is more accurate.
Daily. My sister and I kind of make the analogy, you know how people will smoke a cigarette after a meal. If you're a smoker out there, you know, the cup of coffee or my sister and I would look at each other and kind of signal each other, okay, let's go in the other room.
So you and your sister had some weird addictive obsession with tarot cards. As far as addictions go, this seems the least harmful, unless you were grinding up cards and smoking them through a glass pipe. I fail to see how this is dangerous, absurd and unbelievable, but not dangerous.
It went full blown. And at this time, I also was receiving information about people, about other people. It would just like pop in, like
pop into your head almost.
Exactly. I love how somebody said it recently. It was like being downloaded. Like it just comes right into you. And it sounds like your own thoughts. It doesn't sound like some sort of a growling or a creepy.
So, your own thoughts. I don't believe you. And I highly doubt you downloaded unknown information about strangers. I think you are deceiving yourself, and even worse, deceiving your audience, all in the hopes of scaring a few of the gullible into believing there are supernatural forces spying on us.
Demon, although we can get to that later, but I did, of course, end up seeing a lot of demons and getting touched by them, and to no surprise, really, because of what I was doing.
So you were touched by a demon? Or you imagine this. So far, I'm really disappointed by Christian evidence of any actual dangers of the occult. It all seems like hyped up scare tactics to frighten your audience. And there are no actual dangers.
But I started getting this information about people, and it could be anywhere that I went. Like I could be getting an ultrasound or an x-ray, and I would say, hey, listen, I receive information. Can I tell you, would it be okay with you? And people are so intrigued. And the answer was always yes. And then I would start telling them things about, people in their life, things that were going on with them, people that were deceased as well in their family or friends.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that ultrasound technician was just being kind, smiling, and nodding their head out of courtesy. They were probably chatting amongst themselves about the crazy lady who thinks she's a psychic. Nice to perform to a captive audience.
It escalated. And what I mean by it was the demons, the demonic oppression escalated to a point where I was, like I said, I was being touched. I couldn't do anything. I was constantly in the presence of what I believed would be spirits, of course.
What you believed? Just because you believed you were under demonic oppression, whatever that is, has nothing to do with actual occultism. The Christian mythology surrounding demons is your belief based off the Greek translation for spirits, or Daimon. Later, this word would be anglicized to demons and relegated to only mean evil spirits. You've created this imaginary realm of evil, and then you blame it on all other religions and beliefs.
What is this? What does all of this mean? So I went, of course, to the psychic medium for my information, and she said, Jen, you have a gift.
And here comes ego stroking. These ex-whatevers always have to make themselves so grandiose. Well, I guess if you're going to make yourself the center of your own delusional fantasy, you might as well go all out.
You have to help people with this gift. And of course, I always wanted to help people. It was always my nature. Very compassionate, I hope that doesn't sound not humble, but I really care about people, and I do today.
So you were a compassionate human being? Good for you. Is one of the dangers of New Age that you become too compassionate and want to help too much? I'm still waiting to hear the actual dangers beyond your own imaginary belief in Christian mythology.
And she said I had this gift and to nurture it, and she gave me a business card of a woman who had a divination group, a divination class. Now, again, she wasn't calling it divination. You need to go into this class and hone in and do readings. And Billy, let me tell you something. When I went into that class or group, if you will, it's not like Psychic University. I wasn't at a 0, right? So maybe I was at a 50. I went to like 1 million.
Here comes that ego again. She went from a 50 to a million after attending classes on divination. So how should we quantify a million, or a 50 for that matter? These egomaniacs really like to talk about themselves, and gullible fools like this interviewer never challenge them or request some sort of validation.
Because it was guided meditations, saging, smudging, crystals, and weekly readings, where I was now doing readings for people in that room. And then she started calling me in to do readings because the information was extremely accurate. So I kind of moved up into that, if you will, like that VIP part of the group, because they wanted the readings.
Oh, wow, you made it into the inner sanctum of tarot readers. What an honor. Were you in the class taught by Brother Matthew? I mean, he was a master of divination, and oddly enough, he too possessed supernatural abilities.
Moving objects with your mind, the pinwheel stuff and all these different things, but focusing on it, I could make it start rotating one way and then start rotating the other way by just staring at it, focusing. And then I started getting tempted into divination arts. All of my readings were bang on every time. Now I'm talking about deep secrets of their life and things they were thinking about. I knew stuff no one else could know. I could conjure spirits, do stuff that no one else thought was possible.
A lot of people will say, well, psychics are fake. This isn't real.
Not real.
This is all a joke. People are making it up. But there's a whole, demonic element to this that I'd love for you to speak to. So when somebody comes to you and they say, is this real? Can you really predict the future? What do you say to them?
I'll tell you what she says. She says exactly what you just said a few moments ago.
Psychics are fake. This isn't real. This is all a joke. People are making it up.
Number one, yes, it is real.
Not real.
There really is a spiritual realm, a spiritual battle going on around us.
Ah, yes, this one-sided imaginary war of yours that cost the lives of an estimated 60,000 people.
Burn the witch! Burn the witch! Burn the witch!
Do you smoke?
Burn the witch!
Guess we'll find out soon enough.
And still, to this day, cost people's careers, people's livelihoods, and their financial security. How many more innocent people have to suffer from your imaginary paranoid delusions before you look at the facts and stop jumping to faulty conclusions?
And demons can predict the future, but not with a 100% accuracy, a pretty high accuracy. They are fallen angels. They are watching. They are studying. I don't say that to be creepy, but it's the answer to the question.
I did a quick search online for all the Bibles that read the devil can predict the future, and nothing came up. So I'm predicting that you made this up, and it has no basis in either your holy book nor in reality. I am constantly amazed at how some of you fundamentalist Christians constantly make your Satan and the devil figure into such a powerful being. And are your imaginary friends in a room with you right now?
And remember, Satan masquerades as an angel of light. So he's going to go under the illusion of it being something good, something to help you, something to heal you.
So we should avoid everything that is helpful and healing for us? I have to say, you are sending some really mixed messages here.
Psychics work with police officers, with detectives, and they say, hey, don't you want the case to be solved?
I'm pretty sure police don't hire psychics anymore. If they were reliably accurate, detectives would just hire psychics full-time to solve all their cold cases.
Well, your other option, of course, is to go to God. Go to God and put your faith and trust in the Lord. So it has to seem good. Of course, we want cases to be solved. We want people to move through grief, but the only real way to do any of those things is with the Lord.
So detectives should hire priests to solve cold cases? I'm not following your line of reasoning at all.
So it's so scary and dangerous.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
And that is exactly their agenda, to get people away from God.
Your weird beliefs and assumptions might be scary to you, but again, what are the actual dangers? And who is this elusive they that are trying to get you away from God? The Illuminati?
You moved to a point in your life where this became overwhelming. Things were out of control, and you came to a breaking point where you found Jesus. And I don't want to tell that story for you, but why don't you take us through that journey?
Oh, good. She's getting saved already. Well, I guess we'll just have to take her word for it on those actual dangers. So far, all I've heard from her are paranoia and delusions of grandeur.
It's the best thing that ever could have happened to me in my life. I came to a point of such horrendous demonic oppression. I mean, I was pretty much afraid of my own shadow at that point. Things were not really going well in my life. I would have moments, happy moments in my life, but there is a lot of destruction that comes along, of course, with serving the devil. So it was just this moment where it was so heavy, everything was so hard, and I just cried out to Jesus Christ.
So we're not going to get any evidence for actual danger? This is so disappointing. I always watch these videos hoping that they provide us with something tangible, but it always comes down to their belief, which is fine if that's what you want to believe, but don't drag New Agers or occultists into your Christian-driven delusions of perceived demonic forces. That's a you problem.
So I stopped doing the readings. And then a few months later, I picked it back up.
Yep, she's hooked on tarot. Don't you know you can't just stop cold turkey? You have to ease your way out of it.
A friend of mine came over, a friend from the divination group that I was in my New Age community, who I used to read, came over for dinner. I hadn't seen her in a while, and she had been saved, and she invited me to go to church with her that weekend. And I said no. I took a pass on that.
Well, at least you're starting to make better decisions. Maybe the tarot fog is slowly lifting.
And I went home and I Google searched, what does the Bible say about psychic mediums?
Oh, wow. And what was your reaction when you saw what the Bible says?
Oh, no. I actually called my husband and said I have to quit my job.
Just keep cherry-picking Bible verses from whichever version suits your needs, and continue to ignore the ones about trimming your hair, wearing mixed linens, or observing times.
This is an abomination to him. And in the ESV, I think that's what I had, or the NIV at the time, and it says the word medium in Deuteronomy 18:10-12, and I was like, And that led to, little by little, as I would start to share my testimony, bringing back the very painful, honestly, experiences that I went through demonic oppression.
What very painful demonic oppression are you talking about? Are you referring to your belief that demons were watching you poop?
See, in the movies, they make the devil seem like this, silly character, or that he's not real at all. And
not real.
Hell is just a party, and that's not true.
Psychics are fake. This isn't real. This is all a joke. People are making it up.
And people are being deceived. They're going to manifesting. They're going to crystals. They're going to sage. And I know that offends many. It pushes back on what they want to believe and what they want to think. I get.
The only thing that offends me is your lack of any real tangible evidence that New Age or the occult are dangerous, despite making the claim numerous times. You never gave us any real evidence. You just bared false witness over and over, again and again, offering only the flimsiest anecdote of feelings and assumptions.
Well, yeah, and just as we close, as a quick final question for you, you mentioned the targeting of young people, what's going on in culture. There are so many of these things being pushed as entertainment and fun. What is the thing that has you most concerned right now of all the different tools and elements that are out there?
I think I would say tarot cards, the crystals, and the law of attraction, the manifesting. That keeps getting, I see that a lot on social media. Those tarot cards never seem to get old. And that manifesting, you know why? Because kids want something. They want something. They want to like themselves. They want money. They want love. And they're trying to attract it.
Well, nothing really new here. No actual dangers, just spooky feelings and thoughts experienced by this ex-psychic. Just because she is afraid of her own shadow and imagines demons are spying on her while she poops is her problem. It does not mean there are any actual dangers in tarot cards, crystals, or divination. And I love the fact that biblical divination is justified while using any other form of divination is somehow evil and demonic. What hypocrisy. Anyways, until next time, my friends, I will see you in hell, you heathens.
But why did it always exist outside of everyday sin and people doing bad or wrong things, is it why is it, or how is it that the forces, the spiritual forces behind that, have been able to remain so undefined or nebulous or not real